This is a place.
This is the place?
This is a place. We want to talk about. This is a place.
Welcome to this week's episode of This is a Place podcast. My name is Nate, and with me is a guy who saw something strange in his neighborhood, but didn't know who to call. Brandon.
Didn't know who to call because that dang movie keeps getting pushed.
So many movies have been pushed back. So many good movies, but I think it comes out in a couple weeks.
Really excited for that new Ghostbusters movie. Say it's going to come out in November. Oh, it is November. Well, I'm really excited for that one.
Looks pretty cool. And they were even this past weekend re-showing the original Ghostbusters. Did not have a chance to go because a little busy with other Halloween festivities.
How was your Halloween?
Halloween was a lot of fun. Was able to go do a little trick-or-treating with the family, and then ran home and drove as fast as I could with the speed limit, of course. Didn't go over the speed limit to BYU to watch the BYU Cougars take on Virginia, Bronco Mendenhall's team. So I got there probably right as they were kicking off, right before kickoff. I got there. So I was able to kill two birds with one stone on Saturday night. So I was pretty happy, but man, I was so tired when I got home. It was a fun night. So we put out a bowl of candy so people could just grab. We did it the night before as well on Halloween, and it went off without a problem. But people just grabbed a couple pieces of candy out of the bowl and they move on. And then last night there was only like 2 or 3 trick-or-treaters that came to the house, and then like the third or fourth one captured on our Ring doorbell, grabs the whole bowl, dumps it into his probably brother's bag, and takes off. So the next trick-or-treaters, the bowl didn't have any candy in it for them, and they weren't able to get some candy. But I just don't know how people nowadays still do stuff like that with cameras everywhere. If I was wearing, he wasn't even wearing a mask.
You don't know who it was.
I don't know who it was, but if I wanted to be a jerk, I could slap it on social media and say, who knows who this was? Odds are somebody in the neighborhood would know who it was, but
right.
Not a big deal. I feel like sometimes when stuff like that happens, I'm like, oh, if you really need candy that bad, then go for
Take it.
It's kind of like the kid who stole my $70 basketball. I'm just like, I know who did it, but if he really needs the basketball that bad, then go ahead and have it. But just wish you would have asked first, But anyways, how was your Halloween?
It was a good Halloween, a little more relaxed than we originally had planned because my daughter came down with a really nasty cough, but it was still a fun time, a successful Halloween.
What does she dress up as this year?
She was a witch, a purple witch to be exact.
A purple witch?
Mm-hmm.
Purple is my daughter's favorite color. My daughter was, I'll tell one little quick story.
I will say I did see your daughter at a trunk or treat type
was she
thing.
the doll or like the zombie or whatever
right.
you call it?
I asked her if she was a zombie princess.
Yeah, like a scary doll or a zombie doll. So she was that for the Halloween party for the church, and I had a hockey game, so I couldn't go. But then the next day was her school parade, and they did it outside. So instead of going through the school, they do them outside a lot of times now, right? So her elementary school parade, and she was dressed up as like a onesie panda suit, because she loves pandas lately. I sat there. I got there early before it even started, standing by people in our neighborhood. And I sat there every time a class came out the door, looking for her. And all of a sudden it ends. And I'm like, wait, what about Scarlett's class? And my neighbor's like, yeah, she came by. She was wearing glasses, right? I'm like, what? How did I miss her? And then the thing is, too, is that she's usually pretty loud when she sees me. She always goes like, Daddy. And I'm sure she would have ran and given me a hug. She didn't see me either. So I don't know how I totally missed her. But I get points, though, right, for at least being there.
Yeah, good job.
But I asked her after school, and she goes, no, I didn't see you. And I'm like, well, did you see, like, all the people, like, I named the people I was standing by. She's like, yeah, I saw them all. I'm like, then how did you not see me? So just kind of funny.
Yeah, losing her at the school that's manageable. Tell you where you don't want to lose your kid, though, is at a theme park.
That's true.
Which brings us to our topic for the day. I heard about our topic today through social media. I saw it making the rounds of someone had made an announcement that they were going to build an LDS themed amusement park, theme park, like a Disneyland here in Utah. And of course, we had to be all on top of that because we love these types of parks.
Well, right. What do you always say when you see an empty lot up for sale?
I always say, I really hope it's a theme park. I actually have had one time when this has come true, and it's what they're building over in Jordan Landing.
The Rush Complex.
Right. So I've been right once out of 300 times that I've said it. And we don't know the location yet. And it's still many, many years away. But eventually I'll be able to say they're building a theme park right there.
Well, let's take a listen to what he had to say.
First and foremost, yeah, thank you for having me. It's always an honor to be invited to do a podcast like this. My name is Eric Bailey. I'm the CEO of Feel Well, Live Well. I've been a member of the church my whole life, was privileged to serve as a missionary in Lima, Peru, and married my wife in the San Diego Temple. And we now have 5, soon to be 6 beautiful children. We've always had a passion for amusement parks. We went amusement park hopping on our honeymoon. We got married in San Diego, as I mentioned, and our honeymoon was, again, going amusement park hopping. And a few years ago, we were experiencing quite a bit of business growth. And, our company just absolutely exploded. But at the same time, we were also experiencing some growing pains, so to speak. And Disneyland ended up being kind of our happy place, so to speak. And while we were there, we were just thinking, okay, what is it about this place? What is it that makes it the happiest place on earth? Like, is that just, a tagline? Is that just marketing? And the answer is sure. I mean, it's great marketing for them. But we realized that Disneyland is such a memorable place. It stands out from every other amusement park because it stimulates all 5 of your senses. Anytime you're there, and you are fully immersed in everything that you're doing. And so, for example, when you are in Frontierland, you'll never see a space ranger walking through Frontierland. Everything is extremely immersive. Everything has specific smells. They actually pump in specific smells to the individual rides in some cases and to those lands. They have a very specific soundtrack, and so you hear things, and as soon as you hear it, you're there. When you smell something that's something similar outside of Disneyland, suddenly you're there at Disneyland again. Obviously, the lines and the queues and everything are fully immersive. Like, you're never just going to line up in a standard generic line that goes back and forth, and then you get on some generic roller coaster. Everything is fully immersive. When we came home, we had this idea, well, what would happen if there was an amusement park similar to this that had all these different components that we could use then as kind of the ultimate missionary tool, so to speak? What would happen if there was an amusement park that literally brought sacred text to life, something that people of all faiths, all walks of life could come together? And at first it was kind of like a pipe dream, right? Like, oh yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah, somebody should do that. Someone, someday someone should do something like that. And then we both felt strongly impressed. I mean, just as time passed, it only strengthened. No, this is what you're supposed to do. And call me crazy, but it's my personal belief that we don't receive righteous desires, like righteous thoughts, righteous desires aren't planted in a person's mind unless there's a way for them to do that, unless that's what they're supposed to do. Some people may disagree with that, and that's fine, but that's just my personal idea. And over the following week, like literally all these crazy ideas started coming to us. Like, okay, like have this here, like this is the layout, this is the general area where this is supposed to be, this is everything. And we thought, holy moly, similarly to how a child will watch a number of Disney movies and then they go to a Disney park and suddenly they're like, oh my word, I'm meeting this Disney princess. I'm meeting this Disney prince. I am actually going inside this castle. what kind of difference might it make for people to be able to read sacred text and then be able to fully immerse themselves in those things? And so that's kind of where we're at right now. And then we actually started to reach out to church representatives. We started to reach out to different people to start forming a team. It's currently, it's still quite a ways away. We're looking at a 2035 opening date. It's still currently in the brainstorming phase, but things, as I mentioned, started coming together so that it actually began to become a reality.
So what kind of theme park is this going to be? Is this going to be like with roller coasters, or is it going to be more like an immersive, like you're interacting? Like how much can you reveal of what this is going to be like?
Sure. And so the answer is yes and yes. There are different components that some people have already created in the world. For example, up until actually just earlier this year, there was a semi-amusement park in Florida called the Holy Land Experience. And it was basically the scenes from the New Testament. I believe there weren't any rides or anything, but it was a walkthrough experience where there was all these different exhibits and with animatronics and things of that nature. And so there'll be different elements like that. In Kansas, I believe it is, there is a full-size replica of Noah's Ark. And it's this enormous thing with, again, animatronics. And it's this incredible thing that takes you a full day or several hours at least to walk through. And so we want everything. We're going to do this as high budget as possible. It's going to cost billions and billions of dollars. But yeah, and so imagine, it's not going to be a copy of Disneyland. Obviously we would run into a lot of copyright issues and things of that nature. But we want to take the elements of some of our favorite theme parks, including Disneyland, including Universal, and we want to have those different elements. And so there will be lands featuring at least the following. There'll be one for called Israel, which will be Old Testament. And there will also be a full-size replica of Noah's Ark in there. And so similar to what they have in Kansas. There'll be an Exodus ride, very similar to what they have at Indiana Jones at Disneyland. And so if you recall, like on Indiana Jones, there's this scene where you're crossing this rickety old bridge and there's fire coming up. Think of something similar, only crossing the Red Sea and going around the different plagues that Pharaoh had to face as Moses and his people were trying to get out of there. There will be a creation ride called Flight Over Eden. And so think of something similar to Flight of Passage at Disney's Animal Kingdom, only featuring the creation and the Garden of Eden. There will be a food shack, a vegan food shack called Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego's Vegan Food Shack. And so all sorts of really, really awesome things in the Old Testament section. There will be a New Testament section. So very similar to what they have in Florida with the Holy Land experience. But this is going to be something very, very reverent. This will probably be, again, for lack of a better term, the most reverent part of the park. And think of something similar to what they have at Disneyland with the Storybook Land Canal boat ride. We want something like that, only with scenes from the Savior's life. And we want the people that work those attractions to be very well versed in the life of Jesus and to be sharing those different things and have little exhibits or little displays that feature the different scenes of the Savior's life. At Christmas time, of course, there'll be reenactments of the Nativity, things of that nature. Obviously, all done in a very, very reverent tone, very respectful. There'll be a section called Zarahemla, which will feature scenes from the Book of Mormon. We want a similar setup. If you look at the movie The Testaments, they built this amazing, amazing set, and it'll be featured kind of in a similar way. There will be a wall that'll represent where Samuel the Lamanite came and stood as he talked to the people in Zarahemla. There will be a ride similar to what they have at Disneyland. What's it called? Finding Nemo's Submarine Voyage. It'll be something similar, only Jared, the brother of Jared, barge ride. There will be kind of a joke, kind of a satire restaurant there. If you've seen the movie The RM, there's this great scene where they go to this restaurant and Jared is working and he's dressed up in Nephite attire, and he's like, "Hey, what can I get for you?" "Oh, I'll have waters of Mormon. I'll have an almond cheese. All these fun things." And we're actually going to have a restaurant like that, just as kind of a nod to that movie, kind of a nod to John, by the way, who's actually a friend of ours. There's going to be a ride similar to Splash Mountain called Nephi's Courage. And it'll represent the different scenes from First Nephi. There'll be a dark ride that will talk about the Tree of Life. There's going to be a section called Modern Day. And kind of the centerpiece. So similarly to how Disney parks have, Sleeping Beauty Castle or Cinderella's Castle, we want something similar. We're hoping to have a replica of the San Diego Temple, because it looks like a castle, right? It looks like, if you're familiar with
like a princess. Yeah.
Oh, it really, really does. Again, my wife and I were married there. That is our favorite temple. And if possible, we'll have to get approval from the church and have to do different things, but we're hoping to have that actually as a walkthrough where people can, similar to Sleeping Beauty Castle at Disneyland, where people can actually go through it and look and see different elements of the temple in a way that actually explains how temples work and their function, so that people can actually get a firm grasp of what temples are. There's going to be an attraction there similar to the Hall of Presidents that they have at Disney World, but called the Hall of Prophets. And it'll feature, of course, well-known prophets from biblical times, but also all of the modern day prophets, including the current one. With animatronics. There'll be a ride similar to what they have at Disney Parks, Soarin'. It'll be similar to that, but with Soarin' around the temples. There'll be there'll be I'm trying to remember. Oh, there's going to be a restaurant called the Cultural Hall. And that's where people will, it'll be just like a cultural hall with basketball hoops and everything. And it'll feature all of the stereotypes, all of the really, really fun stereotypes. And so it'll be a family style meal. And of course, it'll be funeral potatoes, and it'll be green Jello, and, all these, super, super fun stereotypical LDS foods.
You have a restaurant called the Singles Ward, and you have to be single to go there.
That would be hilarious. That'd be super fun. There's going to be a ride called Ministering Mayhem. And so something similar to how they used to do Honey, I Shrunk the Audience. This will be a simulation ride. And there'll be all these different scenes where, one of them will be a member of the Elders Quorum that tries to go visit his families, and everything just totally falls apart. Kind of like the movie, The Home Teachers, and all these really super fun things.
I would say you spelled a lot of this out, and the reason I found out about this whole thing was in a Facebook post that you made, and I kind of saw the rounds on social media. And, when I read something like this, I have a couple emotions, and I'm like, yeah, I really want to see something like this happen, because it would be great to have an amusement park here in Utah, something like that, like a Disneyland. But some of the things you touched on, like, I can see a lot of barriers. Like, I feel like one of the biggest would be, having the church sign off on something like this, because of course it's something you'd want to have their stamp of approval on. There's a fine line between doing all these things and also not getting into like the not blasphemous, but like the kind of the light-minded, making light of the situation type of stuff. And so hearing you talk about it, I think that, bridging that gap is really important. It sounds like, you've thought through this.
Yeah, and obviously there are certain things that will be a bit more satire, that'll be a little bit more lighthearted. The Ministering Mayhem that's there just to be lighthearted. There's going to be an ice cream shop called 8 Cow Creamery. These things are obviously very lighthearted, but at the same time, and at certain points of the park, like especially in the Jerusalem section, it's going to be very, very reverent. What we're also hoping to do is nightly have kind of the main show of the park, a reenactment of Third Nephi, where the Savior visits the Americas. We want that, again, to be very, very reverent, very, very respectful, because we want people to leave feeling uplifted. Even we want people of all walks of life, but we want people to feel the spirit while they're at the park and to leave feeling like, wow, I really feel like I gotten to know scriptures now. I really feel like I've gotten to know the sacred text, and we want there to be missionary resources as well, so that people, again, leave feeling very uplifted and going, okay, wow, that's what this church is all about. That's what this is all about. That's what the restoration is all about.
So you plan on doing this in Utah, right?
Absolutely.
Like Lagoon can only be open for so many months a year because of the weather. So is that the same plan you have, or?
No, year round. It's got to be year round, because we get a whole bunch of tourists during the winter season when people are here for skiing. Right. And so, yeah, it's going to be very, very top notch. And obviously we're going to have to have a lot bigger budget for this. But like all the sidewalks are going to need to be self-heating sidewalks. There's going to be heaters all over the place. And most of the lines for the rides will be indoors. And so, we're taking a lot of precautions so that this can be open year round, and so that people can feel very comfortable. And we're going to totally deck it out for Christmas, so that that becomes part of the attraction. Something that people love about Temple Square that draws, millions of people there to Temple Square of all walks of life, all faiths, is because of how incredibly gorgeous it is. And we want to do this something similar. And we want to do something similar to what they have in Hawaii at the Polynesian Cultural Center in Hawaii. They actually have little vans that will take you, it's either down the street or across the street to the temple visitor center there. And we want something similar because we want to give people the opportunity. Maybe, I don't know if we can do a monorail or whether we can do just, little vans or something, or little buses, take people to Temple Square as part of the park. And that way they can actually go and they can see the Salt Lake Temple, and they can actually see firsthand some of the different things that they're experiencing at the park. And so, yeah, it's got to be at least close to Salt Lake, and yeah, it's got to be open year round.
So all the plans you have, this isn't going to be a small, you're going to need a lot of space for all of this. So is there a place you have picked out or in mind for where this will go?
There is. We can't quite announce that yet, just because there there's certain things that are still there, and we're looking to buy that and buy the land around it. But yeah, it'll be the current plan is within just a few miles of Temple Square.
Oh wow!
Just gonna let my mind run wild of where I think that's gonna be. But
it's like when they announce a temple, right, in the city, you're trying to figure out where it's gonna be.
Yeah. What has the response been like so far? I mean, in full transparency, when I saw this, I saw a lot of jokes being made about it. And of course, I'm sure you expected that even in your post. You're like, it's really hard to come out and do this because we know there's going to be a lot of hate, a lot of people thinking this won't happen. So what have you been hearing, and what has the response been like?
It's been very mixed. And there are a lot of people within the church and outside the church that are super, super stoked about it. As soon as we announced it, we were teaching a seminar, and just for whatever reason, I said, we haven't announced this publicly, but would you like to know? It's a seminar about goal setting and, long-term planning. And I said, can I share something very personal that we are actually working on in the next 10 to 15 years? And I did, and overwhelmingly positive. And people started coming up to us afterwards going, oh my word, please tell me whatever we can do, because we want that. And as soon as it's open, let me know so that we can buy the annual passes for our whole family. So, there's been a ton of that. Of course, there's been a lot of pushback, which we expected from people both inside and outside the church. There were a couple of people that are just like, no, I don't see that happening. Okay, good for you. It's like, no, that'll never happen. It's like, okay, well, have a nice day. And so, but that's the same with anything. I'm not unexperienced in opposition. Even as a business owner, we experience a lot of opposition. There are people that, love what we do, and there are people that can't stand what we do. And so again, it's been very, very mixed, but for the most part, quite positive.
One of the things I liked from your post is if people don't think we can do this, they don't know anything about us. So what sets you apart and makes you unique what you have unique enough to actually go through with this plan?
Sure. Well, there are three types of people in the world. There are the starters. The starters are people that have grandiose ideas, but they're the people that kind of sit around dreaming about things, and they talk a big talk, but they never actually do things. Or maybe they'll start something and they never actually finish, and these are the people that always have a new book idea every month, right? Or they have a new network marketing company that they've joined, and they're super, super excited, and they jump in, and then the next month they're on to the next one and the next one and the next one, right? There are the finishers. And these are people that are also called implementers, and they take other people's ideas, and obviously in most of the cases with their permission, they implement them, they run with them. And I love having these people around because they're fantastic. They're able to take a concept and say, oh, is this what you were hoping for? Yes. And then there are these starter finishers, people that have ideas for things and that actually see them through. And hopefully this doesn't come across arrogant or narcissistic or anything, but that's what my wife and I have strived to be. We didn't become 8-time best-selling authors by just being starters. We didn't grow our company to millions, multi-million-dollar company by just being starters. We didn't create, all these are just a few things back here that you can see that we've created just by being starters. My wife didn't give birth to soon to be 6 people, I know that's a weird example, right? But
A good
just by
example,
being
though.
starters. Oh, appreciate it. We are very much starter finishers. And so when we think of something, even if it's crazy, ridiculous like this, we call it a moonshot aim. President John F. Kennedy in 1961 announced that he wanted to place a man on the moon by the end of that decade. And billions of people watched that statement and they said, this guy's crazy, this guy's an idiot. But we all know that in 1969, the first man walked on the moon. And again, that's the type of person that we've strived to be. And when we have an idea, we don't stop until it's complete.
I mean, I think it does take a very special person to be able to see something like this through. And I know, as you mentioned, you've already faced some barriers, and I'm sure you'll face plenty more as 14 years?
Roughly
14 years until that actually comes to fruition. But I'm definitely hoping it's something that I'll be able to take my kids to and be able to enjoy. It sounds like it'll be a really cool thing to be around. How can people get involved and help the ball get rolling?
Sure. Well, we need a number of different resources. First and foremost, we need prayers. I mean, this is, again, an astronomical project. And again, there are going to be some people that just think this is a pipe dream. It's not. And so we need a lot of prayers for that we can find the right connections. We need to make sure that we find all the right people to head all the different departments of this, because people don't realize how much goes into building a theme park. And so prayers that we'll find the right connections, prayers that our investments will continue to grow, because our investments are currently worth millions. We need them to be worth billions. They've grown quite a bit, but we need to obviously grow that quite a bit more, because we're literally going to be putting everything that we have into this. We need investors when the time comes. And so if people listen to this and be like, holy moly, I want to support this. And so, yeah, we'll need people that are willing to invest in the park, willing to give donations, those types of things. And so, as cheesy as that sounds, if anybody wants to assist that way, obviously 100% of all proceeds will go to the park. Like, we're not going to take anything. The current plan is to set this up as a nonprofit organization so that we can keep costs low for people. We're not planning on making it. We're actually planning on, like I said, giving our entire fortune over to this project, just because that's what we feel we need to do.
In that regard, it's already better than Disneyland.
Oh, thanks. Hey, I don't mind if Disneyland makes a profit. I'm a businessman myself, but on our end, it's already just what we've envisioned. It's probably going to cost somewhere between $10 and $12 billion to do this. And so, yeah, like I said, we're putting literally everything that we have and then some. And so again, prayers, encouragement. If anybody knows people with the right connections, maybe some people that have worked at Disney, maybe people that have worked at Universal, people that have worked at some of the local theme parks, Lagoon or Evermore, different people with experience like that we can connect with. People also within the church would be fantastic. And so we've already reached out to them. I've reached out to Elder Nash, who's head of the missionary department. We are just hoping to connect with other people within the church, preferably leaders in the church, so that we can make sure that everything is on par, everything is authentic, because what we don't want is for, let's say, a church leader to come in and go, no, that's not quite right. Oh, darn it. Oh, boy. We want everything to be like, yes, this is how it was. To fix that. Right? Like, oh, okay. Well, good to know now rather than later, right? And more than anything, encouragement. Again, this is going to be such a huge undertaking. And again, we're used to opposition, but again, just as much encouragement, as much prayers, and just however else people are willing to help out. If they're willing to share this podcast, they can reach out to me personally, either on Facebook, so Eric Bailey, or they're welcome to email me, eric@feelwelllivewell.com, with subject theme park. And just saying, hey, how can I help? Then that would be fantastic. Even if it's just, again, to leave an encouraging note. And so, yeah, that's how they can get involved. And then obviously, as soon as it's built, come to the theme park.
Planning on it.
Well, Eric, we'll keep sending our encouragement and our prayers and everything else we can your way, to you and your wife and everyone else a part of your team. We really hope we can see this through.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
So, Nate, after talking with Eric, what are your thoughts on this project?
Well, you sent me the text message when you saw that social media post. And when you read the post, you're like, this guy sounds 100% serious. But at the same time, with all the stuff that goes out on social media, you don't know what's real and what's fake. So my first question to you was, when I texted you back, I'm like, is this for real? Super excited that Eric was willing to talk with us and let us know that this is the real deal, that he's all in, and this is sounds like it's going to happen. So,
and talking with him as well, solidifies it even more. I don't think it's something he just woke up one day and said, let's build a scripture-based amusement park.
Yeah. So it wasn't like he just woke up one morning and said, hey, I got this idea. Kind of like he talked about in the interview, being a starter, just starting this idea, and then post it on social media. Because you have friends like that, right? On social media that always are starting a new diet or starting a new lifestyle, and then a week later they're on to something different. So it sounds like he's 100% in on this idea, which is great. And I'm excited to see if they can make this thing happen. So like you mentioned in the interview, I'll be their opening day, or at least not opening weekend, if it happens.
As Eric mentioned, there's ways you can get in touch with him to give him ideas or lend your support or even just your encouragement. But we'd also like to hear what your ideas are. If you were to come up with something for this theme park, what would you add into it? What about you, Nate? What would you add in?
I kind of mentioned in the interview, I think it'd be funny to kind of play off of the
stereotypes.
Stereotypes, what I'm looking for. Like do the singles ward. I like the cultural hall. You could have, like Elders Corn basketball league or something like that. Games or something like that. There's a lot of stuff that you can do with it. But it sounds like
a fry sauce bar is a must.
Oh,
all sorts of different kinds of fry sauce,
green Jello, dessert, anything to do with the Utah culture. So
casseroles, of course. I feel my biggest question is around holidays. What are you going to do for the Halloween season? Because that gets really tough. How do you make a spooky church-related activity?
Oh, you're talking like for Halloween, and it's easy. I figured it out. Trunk or treat. I feel like the church kind of made that popular.
Trunk or
wouldn't you say?
treat.
The
You just
trunk or
have a
treat.
trunk or treat.
It's that easy.
Just a bunch of cars, line them up and give out candy. So those are our ideas. Let us know what your ideas are for this. And if you've got any unique experience, reach out to Eric to help further the cause. Thanks for listening to This Is a Place podcast.
See you next week.